Imagine you walk into a store today with one simple mission: you want the best flagship smartphone money can buy. You look to your left, and there is the Google Pixel 11 Pro XL. In the middle, you have the iPhone 17 Pro Max. And on the right, you have Samsung's Galaxy S26 Ultra. All three are premium smartphones. All three are packed with artificial intelligence, flagship processors, advanced cameras, high refresh rate displays, huge batteries, and years of software support. But here's the question: if you had to choose only one, which phone actually gives you the best overall package? Today, we're putting the Google Pixel 11 Pro XL, iPhone 17 Pro Max, and Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra head-to-head. And we're going to compare them in exactly the order that matters, starting with design, then the display, battery, software, performance, memory, storage, cameras, video, selfies, connectivity, and finally the USB experience. So let's get straight into it. Design. Starting with thickness, the Google Pixel 11 Pro XL measures 8.5 mm. The iPhone 17 Pro Max comes in slightly thicker at 8.8 mm. And then Samsung takes the advantage here, with the Galaxy S26 Ultra measuring just 7.9 mm. Now, that difference might not sound dramatic on paper, but when you're holding these phones in your hand, every fraction of a millimeter can affect how substantial or slim the device feels. The Pixel sits right in the middle. The iPhone is the thickest of the three. And the Galaxy S26 Ultra is clearly the slimmest. Moving to weight, the Pixel 11 Pro XL weighs 226 grams. The iPhone 17 Pro Max comes in at 223 grams. And the Galaxy S26 Ultra is the lightest at 214 grams. So once again, Samsung has the advantage if your priority is carrying a large flagship without quite as much weight in your pocket. In terms of build materials, the Pixel 11 Pro XL uses a Gorilla Glass back with an aluminum frame. The iPhone 17 Pro Max combines an aluminum and glass back with an aluminum frame. And the Galaxy S26 Ultra uses a Gorilla Glass back with Samsung's Aluminum Armor 2 frame. All three are designed to feel premium, but Samsung's combination of a slimmer body and lower weight makes the S26 Ultra particularly interesting from a physical design perspective. And when it comes to durability, all three phones carry an IP68 rating for dust and water resistance. So whether you're choosing Pixel, iPhone, or Galaxy, you're getting flagship-level protection against dust and water. Display. Now we get to one of the most important parts of any smartphone, the display. The Pixel 11 Pro XL comes with an LTPO OLED panel. The iPhone 17 Pro Max uses an LTPO XDR OLED display. And Samsung brings something particularly interesting with the Galaxy S26 Ultra, a privacy display using LTPO AMOLED Dynamic 2X technology. So immediately, Samsung is trying to differentiate itself beyond simply having a high-quality screen. The refresh rate on all three phones reaches 120 Hz. But the PWM specifications differ. The Pixel 11 Pro XL reaches 240 Hz PWM. The iPhone 17 Pro Max reaches 480 Hz PWM. And the Galaxy S26 Ultra also reaches 480 Hz PWM. For everyday scrolling, gaming, animations, and general use, all three should feel extremely smooth. But if you're particularly sensitive to display flicker, the higher PWM figure on the iPhone and Samsung may be something worth paying attention to. Now let's talk brightness. The Pixel 11 Pro XL is rated at an impressive 3600 nits peak brightness with HDR10+. The iPhone 17 Pro Max reaches 3000 nits peak brightness with HDR10. And the Galaxy S26 Ultra reaches 2600 nits peak brightness with HDR10+. On paper, the Pixel takes the crown for peak brightness. That could make the Pixel particularly impressive when you're watching HDR content or using the phone outdoors under intense sunlight. But brightness isn't the only thing that determines display quality. Resolution is another major factor. The Pixel 11 Pro XL comes with a resolution of 1344 by 2992 pixels, giving it around 482 pixels per inch. The iPhone 17 Pro Max offers 1320 by 2868 pixels at approximately 460 pixels per inch. And Samsung goes even further with 1440 by 3120 pixels and around 500 pixels per inch. So in terms of pixel density, the Galaxy S26 Ultra takes the lead. That means Samsung has the sharpest display of the three on paper, while Google has the brightest peak specification. Now look at display size. The Pixel 11 Pro XL comes with a 6.8-inch display, covering approximately 111.5 square centimeters. The iPhone 17 Pro Max has a slightly larger 6.9-inch display, covering around 115.6 square centimeters. And the Galaxy S26 Ultra also has a 6.9-inch display, covering approximately 115.9 square centimeters. So Samsung has the largest display area by a tiny margin. The body-to-screen ratio tells another part of the story. The Pixel comes in at 88.9% with a 20:9 aspect ratio. The iPhone reaches 90.7% with a 19.5:9 ratio. And Samsung also reaches 90.7% with a 19.5:9 ratio. So both the iPhone and Galaxy make slightly more efficient use of the front of the phone. For protection, the Pixel uses Gorilla Glass Victus 2 with a Mohs Level 5 rating. The iPhone uses Ceramic Shield 2 with an anti-reflective coating and a Mohs Level 5 rating. And Samsung uses Gorilla Armor 2 with its privacy display and anti-reflective coating, reaching a Mohs Level 6 rating. So if we're looking at the display package as a whole, each phone has its own advantage. Google gives you extraordinary peak brightness. Apple gives you its XDR OLED technology and Ceramic Shield 2. Samsung combines high pixel density, anti-reflective technology, privacy display functionality, and the strongest Mohs rating of the three. Battery life. Now let's talk about something that matters every single day, battery life. The Pixel 11 Pro XL has the largest battery capacity here at 5,115 mAh. The iPhone 17 Pro Max comes with a 4,823 mAh battery. And the Galaxy S26 Ultra has a 5,000 mAh battery. But here's where things get interesting. Battery capacity doesn't automatically determine battery endurance. According to the active use figures provided, the Pixel 11 Pro XL reaches 13 hours and 48 minutes. The iPhone 17 Pro Max reaches an impressive 17 hours and 58 minutes. And Samsung goes even further, reaching 18 hours and 23 minutes. That means the Galaxy S26 Ultra delivers the longest active use score despite having a slightly smaller battery than the Pixel. The iPhone is also extremely competitive. And the Pixel, despite having the largest battery capacity, comes in behind both the iPhone and Samsung in this particular active use comparison. For charging, the Pixel supports 45-watt wired charging and 25-watt wireless charging. The iPhone 17 Pro Max supports 40-watt wired charging and 25-watt wireless charging. And Samsung takes the lead with 60-watt wired charging, while also offering 25-watt wireless charging. So if charging speed is important to you, Samsung clearly has the advantage. OS and software. Now we move into software. The Pixel 11 Pro XL runs Android 17 with Google's Pixel UI and comes with 7 years of updates. The iPhone 17 Pro Max runs iOS 26.6 and also offers 7 years of updates. And the Galaxy S26 Ultra runs Android 16 with One UI 8.5 and 7 years of updates. This is where the choice becomes less about specifications and more about ecosystem. The Pixel is designed around Google's version of Android, clean, intelligent, and deeply integrated with Google's services. The iPhone is built around Apple's tightly controlled iOS ecosystem. And Samsung gives you Android combined with One UI, which provides extensive customization and multitasking features. But whichever one you choose, long-term software support is a major strength because all three are promising 7 years of updates. AI Suite. And of course, we cannot talk about modern flagship phones without talking about AI. The Pixel 11 Pro XL brings Google AI and Gemini AI. The iPhone 17 Pro Max combines Apple Intelligence with Gemini AI. And Samsung gives you Galaxy AI alongside Gemini AI. This is an interesting battle because all three companies are approaching artificial intelligence differently. Google's advantage is its deep connection to Gemini and Google's massive AI ecosystem. Apple focuses on bringing intelligence into the iPhone experience through Apple Intelligence. And Samsung continues pushing Galaxy AI into communication, productivity, photography, and device features. So the real winner here may depend on which ecosystem you already use. CPU and chipset. Now we're entering the performance battlefield. The Pixel 11 Pro XL features a 7-core configuration listed as 1 core at 4.11 GHz, 4 cores at 3.8 GHz, and 2 cores at 2.60 GHz. The iPhone 17 Pro Max features a 6-core configuration with 2 cores reaching 4.26 GHz and 4 cores at 2.60 GHz. And the Galaxy S26 Ultra comes with an 8-core configuration, with 2 cores reaching 4.74 GHz and 6 cores at 3.62 GHz. But specifications are only one part of the story. The chipsets themselves are the real headline. The Pixel uses Google's Tensor G6. The iPhone uses Apple's A19 Pro. And Samsung uses Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. Now look at the supplied AnTuTu V11 scores. The Pixel 11 Pro XL scores approximately 2,127,188. The iPhone 17 Pro Max scores around 2,486,417. And the Galaxy S26 Ultra reaches an enormous 3,892,165. That is a huge difference on paper. The Pixel is clearly designed around Google's AI-first approach rather than simply chasing benchmark numbers. The iPhone continues to focus heavily on optimized performance through Apple's custom silicon. But Samsung, with the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 and its reported benchmark score, takes the performance crown in this comparison. So if raw benchmark performance is your priority, the Galaxy S26 Ultra is the clear winner. Memory and storage. Now let's talk about RAM. The Pixel 11 Pro XL comes with 12 GB or 16 GB of LPDDR5X RAM. The iPhone 17 Pro Max comes with 12 GB of LPDDR5X RAM. And the Galaxy S26 Ultra comes with either 12 GB or 16 GB of LPDDR5X RAM. So Google and Samsung give you the option of going up to 16 GB. Apple keeps the configuration at 12 GB. For storage, the Pixel offers 256 GB, 512 GB, or 1 TB using UFS 4.1. The iPhone offers 256 GB, 512 GB, 1 TB, or a massive 2 TB option using NVMe. And Samsung offers 256 GB, 512 GB, or 1 TB using UFS 4.1. So if maximum storage is what you want, the iPhone takes the win with its 2 TB configuration. But if you want expandable options within the flagship configurations listed here, Google and Samsung remain highly competitive. Camera. Now we arrive at perhaps the most exciting category, cameras. Let's start with the Pixel 11 Pro XL. Google gives you a 50-megapixel main camera with an f/1.7 aperture and a 25mm focal length. Then there's a 48-megapixel periscope telephoto camera at f/2.8 with a 106mm focal length. and a 48-megapixel ultra-wide camera at f/1.7 with a 13mm focal length. The Pixel offers 5x optical zoom and up to 120x digital zoom. Google's camera philosophy has traditionally been about computational photography, and that makes the Pixel particularly interesting for people who want powerful image processing and AI-assisted photography. Now let's look at the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Apple gives you a 48-megapixel main camera at f/1.8 with a 24mm focal length. There's also a 48-megapixel periscope telephoto camera at f/2.8 with a 100mm focal length. And a 48-megapixel ultra-wide at f/2.2 with a 13mm focal length. The iPhone also includes a top 3D LiDAR scanner for depth sensing. It offers 4x optical zoom and up to 40x digital zoom. And then we have Samsung. The Galaxy S26 Ultra comes with a massive 200-megapixel main camera with an f/1.4 aperture and a 24mm focal length. It also has a 10-megapixel telephoto camera at f/2.4 with a 67mm focal length. Then there's a 50-megapixel periscope camera at f/2.9 with a 111mm focal length. And finally, a 50-megapixel ultra-wide camera with an f/1.9 aperture and a 15mm focal length. Samsung offers 3x and 5x optical zoom and up to 100x digital zoom. So just looking at the hardware, Samsung has the most aggressive camera system. A 200-megapixel main sensor, 2 telephoto cameras, a 50-megapixel periscope, and a 50-megapixel ultra-wide camera. Google counters with a very balanced 50MP, 48MP, and 48MP system with strong zoom capabilities. Apple focuses on a highly integrated 48MP camera system with LiDAR and a strong computational photography and video ecosystem. So this isn't simply about megapixels. Google's strength is computational photography and AI. Apple's strength is image processing, consistency, and video. Samsung's strength is versatility, zoom, and extremely high-resolution hardware. Video recording. And when it comes to video, the differences become even more interesting. The Pixel 11 Pro XL can record up to 8K at 30 frames per second and 4K at 60 frames per second. The iPhone 17 Pro Max takes a different approach, supporting 4K at up to 120 frames per second and 1080p at up to 240 frames per second. And the Galaxy S26 Ultra supports 8K at 30 frames per second and 4K at 120 frames per second. So Samsung and Google give you 8K recording, while Apple puts a major emphasis on high frame rate 4K recording. For someone creating professional-looking social media videos, slow-motion content, cinematic footage, or YouTube videos, this category is particularly important. And once again, the iPhone's video ecosystem remains one of its biggest reasons people choose it. Samsung, however, gives you an incredibly flexible video package. And Pixel continues to combine Google's computational photography with advanced video processing. Selfie camera. Now let's turn the phone around. The Pixel 11 Pro XL features a 42-megapixel selfie camera capable of recording 4K at 60 frames per second. The iPhone 17 Pro Max has an 18-megapixel selfie camera with 4K at 60 frames per second. And the Galaxy S26 Ultra has a 12-megapixel selfie camera, also supporting 4K at 60 frames per second. If we're simply looking at resolution, Google takes the lead by a huge margin with 42 megapixels. But again, megapixels aren't everything. Image processing, dynamic range, skin tones, stabilization, autofocus, and video processing can make a major difference. So the Pixel looks strongest on paper, while the iPhone and Samsung rely heavily on their image processing systems to turn relatively lower resolution sensors into high-quality results. Communication. Moving on to connectivity, all three phones support 5G. The Pixel 11 Pro XL supports Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 7 along with Bluetooth 6.0. The iPhone 17 Pro Max also supports 5G, Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 7, and Bluetooth 6.0. And the Galaxy S26 Ultra brings the same core connectivity package, 5G, Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 7, plus Bluetooth 6.0. So this category is extremely close. All three are built for fast wireless connectivity and modern networks. USB port. Finally, let's talk about the USB experience. The Pixel 11 Pro XL uses USB Type-C 3.2 with OTG and DisplayPort 1.2 support. The iPhone 17 Pro Max also uses USB Type-C 3.2 with OTG and DisplayPort 1.2. But Samsung adds something particularly important to the Galaxy S26 Ultra experience, Samsung DeX. That means the Galaxy can go beyond simply connecting to a monitor. With DeX, the phone can function more like a desktop computer interface, giving Samsung an advantage for productivity, multitasking, and users who want their smartphone to become more than just a smartphone. So, after putting these three flagships through every major category, we have three very different philosophies. The Google Pixel 11 Pro XL is the intelligent photography and AI-focused flagship. It gives you a massive 5,115 mAh battery, 3,600 nit peak brightness, a 42-megapixel selfie camera, up to 16 GB of RAM, 7 years of software updates, and Google's deep Gemini AI integration. It is the phone for someone who wants Google's software intelligence and computational photography wrapped inside a premium flagship. Then there's the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Apple brings the A19 Pro chip, a 6.9-inch LTPO XDR OLED display, 7 years of updates, up to 2 TB of storage, Apple Intelligence, a powerful 48-megapixel camera system, LiDAR, and an impressive video recording package. It's the phone for someone who wants the Apple ecosystem, optimized performance, premium video capabilities, and long-term software support. And then there is the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra. This phone looks like Samsung decided to attack almost every category at once. It's the thinnest at 7.9 mm. It's the lightest at 214 grams. It has a 6.9-inch 1440p display with around 500 pixels per inch. It offers a 5,000 mAh battery, 60-watt wired charging, up to 16 GB of RAM, a 200-megapixel main camera, 2 telephoto cameras, 100x digital zoom, 8K video, 4K at 120 frames per second, Galaxy AI, Gemini AI, and Samsung DeX. And based on the supplied in 22V11 figures, it also has the highest performance score by a significant margin. So if you're asking me which phone is the most balanced powerhouse on paper, the Galaxy S26 Ultra has the strongest overall argument. If your priority is Google's AI ecosystem and computational photography, the Pixel 11 Pro XL becomes extremely attractive. And if you're already deeply invested in Apple's ecosystem and want a flagship built around iOS, the iPhone 17 Pro Max remains a very compelling choice. But that's what makes this generation so interesting. There is no single phone that wins every category. Google wins in areas like peak brightness, battery capacity, and selfie camera resolution. Apple brings a powerful chip, massive storage options, a refined ecosystem, and an impressive video system. Samsung dominates several hardware categories, including thickness, weight, charging speed, display resolution, camera versatility, zoom, benchmark performance, and DeX. So the real question isn't simply, which phone is the best? The real question is, which flagship is best for you? Because if you want AI and photography, look toward Pixel. If you want the Apple ecosystem and video experience, look toward iPhone. And if you want maximum hardware versatility, performance, zoom, productivity, and customization, the Galaxy S26 Ultra may be the phone to beat. 3 flagships. 3 different philosophies. And one very difficult decision.